Hi everybody, this is Annette. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I bring you a different video, and it's because I'm going to start making some bangle bracelets, and I want to show you now what I use. I ordered this new Pika wooden step bracelet mandrel. It's a sizing and it's adjustable, and these are for bangle sizing wire wrapping bracelets. And I have this other beadboard for bracelets that's different, and I want to show you what the differences are. This is new, and I'm just going to tell you what you can do to mark your mandrel. We're not going to do that today because I don't want to mark anything. I know exactly how I used it because I've used these before, but I just wanted to show you just in case you've never seen this before. Okay, so I have my measuring tape right here, but let's start with this beadboard right here. Okay, this is an actual beadboard, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, let me zoom in there. Thank you. You can see it there. Okay, this is an actual beadboard. You can put your beads right here. The different thing about this beadboard is a bracelet beadboard. So what you do is you put your beads around the area depending on the size that your bracelet that you want the bracelet. Let me show you. So I have some beads here. So if I put these beads right here and I say, okay, this is going to end right there on that last bead. Okay, and I hold it right there. You always have to come over here and remeasure because you want to make sure you're getting your correct fitting, because it's going to depend on the bead, the size of your bracelet. So every time you use this, and let me show you what this has. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. There you go. This is a 7-inch for a 7-inch bracelet. So you put your beads here. This is a 7 3/4 inch, which is 197 centimeters. This is a 6.5 and a 6-inch. And then once you put your beads here, okay, and if you're going to do a stretchy bracelet, this is perfect for that. So you put all your beads in here, you string them, and then you put them down here and you re-measure. Remember, re-measuring. Measure twice and cut once. And I say that all the time because a lot of people go, oh, I strung my bead bracelet and then I was short on the wire. Well, you need to measure before you cut. So make sure you always give you that little extra room, either with the wire, with the stretchy wire, or whatever you're using. Always give you extra, 2-3 inches extra, just in case you run short. Okay, so this is what this beadboard looks like, and I use these for those stretchy bracelets. Okay. Now, when we talk about bangle bracelets, I'm talking about, and this is just something I use as a base. This is solid, okay? But this could be wire, and you can use this with any wire, 20 gauge wire. That's how I do my wire wrap bracelets. And there is a video coming up on that. And for that, I use this wooden mandrel. And the reason is because this is solid, and it gives me, this particular wooden mandrel goes from 1.5 to 9. So I know that for a fact, this is exactly what I was looking for, because I have a lot of clients with different size wrists. And I bet you're wondering, how do I know my wrist size? Now, and we're going to talk about that, but just give me a second. Okay, so this goes from 1.5 to 9. So I know I'm in between these three. Why? Because if this is 9, this is 8.5, this is 8, 7, 7.5, 7, 6.5, 6. You see where I'm going with it? Okay, and you always have to measure it, because these are not a perfect cylinder kind of a wooden mandrel. They always have their little, maybe 1/4 of an inch. That it's always off somehow. So my size bracelet usually goes from here to here. And let's do this one and see what size this one is. Okay, so this is an 8.5. Okay, that's an 8.5 right there. See that? See my little middle? Let me zoom in so you can really see that. See that? That goes to my 8.5. There's the ending of my measuring tape. Let me move this aside. Okay, that's an 8.5. Okay, and then if I move it closer to this, it might be just perfect sizing. This is an 8. Okay, there you go. Do you see that right here? This is my marking. That's an 8. So it goes down in size, as you can see, and That's why some people like to mark theirs, because they know the size, but I know I'm between this one and this one. Now, here's the question. Okay, so here's a bangle bracelet. We put it in, and on it, that ends up being on this one, which we said this one's an 8, okay? So remember 9, 8.5, 8. So I am an 8, and how do I know that? Because if I want to put my hand through here, it goes through it. Does that make sense? Now, how people, when you're doing your stretchy bracelet, they do this. I'm going to measure my wrist, and my wrist is, you know, 6.5, which is great for a stretchy bracelet. You want to make it a 7 or a 7 3/4 or a 7.5. That way you have a loose stretchy bracelet. And for stretchy bracelet, that works. That's where this beadboard comes in play. But if I'm doing a bangle bracelet and my wrist is a 7 or 7.5, my bangle is not going to go through my hand. Okay, so when you measure to do a bangle bracelet, this is how you do it. You put your hand, let me zoom out again. You put your hand out. Usually when you try to put your bangle bracelet in, you go like this, right? You try to fit it in there. So the thickest part of your hand will be this right here. So what you do is try to grab that right there, okay? You come around and you measure what that is. And it says is an 8.5, okay? So if it's an 8.5, you see it right there? Can you see that? I'm gonna zoom in, 8.5. So the thickest part is 8.5. That's for a bangle bracelet, okay? And I know that is gonna fit me. This is a little bit snug, but if it was an 8.5, I wouldn't be, you know, it wouldn't be uncomfortable. And that is how you know how to measure to put in a bangle bracelet, which is what we're going to be doing with these. So those are the differences, and it's important that you know that so you don't get caught buying a beadboard of this sort and then trying to create a bangle bracelet with it, which is impossible. If you start wrapping it around here, you know your wrist is going to have to be from here to here, really, really small hands. That's what that's going to fit. Otherwise, it's not going to fit you. Okay? If you have any questions, leave me your comments down below. I'll try to answer them as best as I can. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel and you're new, don't miss out on the future videos that I'm going to be creating using this wooden mandrel to create bangle wrapped bracelets. It's going to be beautiful with crystals and beads and everything else. So if you haven't subscribed, do so and click that ring bell besides the subscribe button so you can be notified of future videos. And I'm sorry I keep saying that and I have to repeat myself, but that's how YouTube works now. And God bless.